So first what we did, we actually zoned this 800 kilometer stretch on the basis of homogeneity. So we have come out with 7 distinct zones, right from 0 kilometer to 800 kilometer. Then we identified 4 zones out of that 7 to be considered for our e-flow settings. Zone 1, which is from Gangotri to Rishikesh, and in each of the zone we have identified one site in order to take the cross sections from that site and then recommend the flows for that particular site, which will definitely indicate that this is the flow we want for that particular zone. So for the first zone, our site was Kordiala, which is about 40 kilometer upstream of Rishikesh. Zone 2, Bijnor to Narora, and this we considered as a reference zone because this is the area where you don't have water quality and quantity issues. By and large, it's okay, and biodiversity is also evident over there. So this we can safely consider a reference zone. Then the zone 3 was from Narora to Farrukhabad, and our site was Kachla Bridge. For the zone 4, which was from Kannauj to Kanpur, and this is the last zone, and we identified a site which is in Kanpur, a heavily industrial town. How we have arrived to the recommendation. We had this 5 days workshop in May, in which first day we went to one of the sites. The hydrology group provided a summary of flow characteristics and how they have changed over the period of time. Then the hydraulic group pointed out the position of cross-section and described the hydraulic characteristics. And all the other groups have provided an overview of aspects of interest at site indicator, habitat, uses, seasonal changes, major issues, reference conditions, etc. We also grappled with the issue of reference condition earlier, and because there was a thinking that we can take any past reference to say that, okay, we want to restore the river to that reference, but that was very difficult because first barrage come on Ganga in 1860 or 70s when Upper Ganga Canal was constructed. And flow data, I mean, forget about this time, of that time, it was not at all available to us. So what we thought, we'll go by the expert opinion, we'll go by what our experts want from their perspective, and in that particular river stretch. So we use that as a reference condition. So during the meeting, we have concluded that January can be considered as a driest month, and August as the wettest month. The cross-section of each of the sites were explained by hydraulic group so that the other experts can derive the flows, the average velocity and depth. Each of the expert team filled flow motivation form for each of the site and for each of the season. And the baseline data collected by the expert groups and form, which they put in the starter document was useful for us to come to these figures. This is just an idea of how flow motivation form looks like, and this was filled by each of the expert group from all the 5 streams. It's the maintenance flows which is useful and which is critical for us. It is actually a normal year, not very wet, not very dry. And here one would expect all the ecological functions and processes in place, like fish breeding, invert emerging, floodplain, wetland full, and sediment transport, etc. Based on the data we had, we could get some data from the irrigation department of Uttar Pradesh, plus some global data sets, plus IWMI has been working on this from last 15-20 years, so they also have got some data. So based on that data, we could conclude that maintenance flows would be equaled or exceeded during 70 years of 100. However, flow would be lower for 30 years out of 100. In other words, 70% probability on a flow duration curve. So our recommendations is based on this actually. So this is the result we have got. For Kordiala, which is the site for zone 1, our recommendation is about 72% of mean annual runoff. And we actually tried to map the present day flow, but we could not get the data from one of the upstream dam, which is called Tehri. But now I'm hopeful we are going to get it, and maybe we'll be able to revise this. In the zone 3 site is Kachla Bridge, and here our recommended flow is 45% of mean annual runoff. And here you can see a line which is actually a present day flow, and this indicates that except for the month of August, the present day flow is unable to meet the environmental flow requirement. Same is the case of fourth zone, where our recommendation is 47% of mean annual runoff, and present day flow is unable to meet environmental flow requirement in any of the month. Outcomes and lessons learned. Conditions and motivations to improve flows have been defined through this process. A team of specialists is at place to work further. We have identified areas where further information is required to increase the level of confidence. And this is an adaptive process in which the management of river can be constantly improved by monitoring and refinement of initial flow assessment. I mean, we are not saying that this is a conclusive work. This is a sort of work in progress, and we can refine our recommendation based on the data we keep on getting and based on the knowledge we build on. Just extension of that. Access to extensive long-term observed hydrological data is highly essential. In our case, we could get that in bits and pieces, which was not very good. So if we are able to get something like that, then you can come up with more strong and more confident recommendations. Further calibration and verification of existing rated cross-section and the establishment of additional cross-section will further improve our level of confidence in recommending the flows. The biodiversity group specially recognized that the relationship between indicator fish species, invertebrates, etc., and flow would also allow more precise recommendations. The people who are working with us are the masters in their own subjects, but when it comes to environmental flows or converting or taking that to the level of environmental flows is something which they were also learning along the process. So it was suggested by them that this is something we can work on and we can improve them on. Current activities, we have recently published our summary report of environmental flows. This is, I've got about 30 copies which I've kept there. If somebody interested can take it from there. And I have the soft copy just in case it finishes up there. And we are working with the Consortia of Indian Institute of Technologies, IITs, to develop the Ganga River Basin Management Plan. Specifically, we are working on the environmental flows component. And we are also preparing detailed report of this work because this is something which was told by many people that you should come out with a sort of technical manual because this is the first work which is going on in India and nobody knows how to go about it, though there is so much of enthusiasm about environmental flows. So we are working on that and by November we will be able to launch that report. Follow-up activities include promote implementation in Ganga River Basin, which we are doing. Simulate basin-wide water allocation scenarios with inclusion of environmental flows under current and future climate scenarios, and promote environmental flow assessment in other river basins in India. Thank you. With this, I come to the end of the session.